We're gonna break it all down. The a lot of things that are happening right now that the media
Hmm.
started finally to talk about, even though they're maybe about 4 days, 3 days late from when me and Malcolm spoke about this. If you guys remember, as soon as the attacks happened, we came alive and we told you guys that there's a what our sources are saying, and there's a big probability that yes, there was a strike, yes, it was a hit, but the probability of them, like Trump said, obliterating and taking out and destroying all the nuclear weapons was probably false. And I've been reporting on my Substack about how I've been hearing from my sources that it was all staged, taken out. And so far, everything we've told you has happened to a key, and even to today.
No.
Watching, this isn't about I told you so. It's about that how important it is to make sure that we get the word out and make sure that we get the proper reporting, because watching the media chase her, like right now, he has them chasing around. Just think about Malcolm, all day and probably tomorrow. They're trying to validate and justify why they're reporting on there might be nuclear weapons, that they might have not hit all the nuclear weapons, that it's
Right.
only a few months away. Not that this is news. They're trying to validate it. They're trying to justify it. And you got Pete Hegseth running on stage today, screaming
Right.
at a
Yeah.
reporter. Screaming at a reporter, basically saying that we're going to go after these leakers. I mean, not the fact that maybe okay, I can understand it's too early. We have to reevaluate. Give it some time. There could have been a million ways of, but the straight response is, listen, somebody out there, whoever's trying to tell us the truth, we're going to go after him, shut him up.
Right. Of course. And the way they do it is they wouldn't do this in any dignified manner. They do this on the largest global stage. First off, let's stipulate this right off the bat. The Iranians are laughing their asses off. Wait, I think I hear them right now, off into the distance, are watching this press conference and them brag about how much they've done and how great it was. No one has ever criticized the components of the strike. No one. What we've criticized is the fact that they never gave a minute's thought that the Iranians could have moved this stuff. And their whole attitude was, well, it's a lot. It takes a lot of safeguards. When you're in an emergency, you'll waive a lot of safeguards, right? And it's only 881 pounds. I'm sorry, which is not a lot of material. That could have been broken down into 10-pound boxes, 50-pound boxes with a 100-pound lead box around it and moved out in a bunch of small pickup trucks and SUVs, right? Especially if they're your most trusted people. And and Trump is basing this strictly on the fact that dirt was moved from the strike. And he's saying, well, flame goes down into the mountain. Yes, we all understand that. And you can tell where he's mimicking somebody is explaining to him because he doesn't understand any of that. But obliterated does not mean damaged. Obliterated does not mean injured. Obliterated does not mean impacted or severely. It means under no circumstance can it ever exist. Now, someone will have, now he went back and forth from it was burned to it was crushed under granite. Which one is it? All right. Is it both?
Malcolm, let me ask you this question. I mean, he said some really I mean, he said a lot of whacked out stuff at this speech at The Hague, and we're going to go into a lot of the stuff. But one of the things that really got to me, and I see already, because one of the things that I was part of when I was in Mega is getting the right message out of brainwashing, and that's why I could see ahead of how they play the game. And one of the ways where I know he right now they're attacking is they're switching, and you said something very, very important, and which is a very big key, is they're turning and making it look like that the media is not
Right.
attacking him as the liar. they're attacking the
The
proud
military.
military, the proud airman that went and fought. Now, here's where I want to ask you, because I think this is a little bit. I mean, I think he made the whole shit up. I'm going to say it exactly how it is. I don't have facts, but he said there that that the pilots got home, turned on the TV, and they were so upset and so disgraced and so hurt by what the media was saying about these attacks that they called him. They
Oh,
called
yeah,
the
they called
president
him
of the
like these
United
guys have
States.
the hotline to his mobile,
The,
right?
pi- the,
Get
pi-
me the president on the
the
line.
pilot called him and said how hurt in Missouri, in the great state of Missouri, how hurt that. By the way, that I won twice. He won that twice. Great state. I mean, does that happen? I mean, did the pilot is the pilot going to call and to complain and say, "Hey, we did a great strike"? I mean, just think about to the degree of brainwashing he's going in at the Hague, at the world, to be able to right here. Just think about it, folks.
My favorite part is where he goes, they called me and said, sir, sir, you know? Wait, he forgot the part of with tears in their eyes.
Oh, I swear, I mean, I mean, like, and he says it like and he believes himself, like he says shit. It's like, it's like I couldn't wait to ask you when I heard him say that
Some-
shit. I was sitting next to my wife and I said, "Babe," I said, "Did you just hear? Did I hear what he just said? He just said that the pilot from the B-52 bomber
Me
flew
too, Zach.
back, saw the media, gave him a call, and said, 'Hey, sir, I'm so hurt by what is going on.'" Like,
I thought someone, by the way, the reason I sort of choked up my coffee a moment ago is somebody wrote, get me the president. I'm a P-2 pilot. I'm a major in the Air Force, and I want to talk to the president now to tell him about my feelings.
because I want to make it very clear to everybody,
Saturday Night
we
Live.
and more than anything, especially Malcolm will tell you, we respect our army, our navy, our military. Those young men that did there, it was an amazing mission. It's not about that. Yes, we have the best army, the precise target, the way what they fulfilled, what they did. They risked their lives. They did. It's not about that. Nobody's talking about. We're talking about, and what the media is talking about is that Donald Trump is up to no good. The
That's right.
media hasn't focused in on everything that we've been talking about, but they're starting to click in on pieces by saying, "Listen, guy, you're giving a false narrative, and you're telling us that the weapons are gone." And he went and doubled down today by saying, "Listen, we destroyed them. They're so far out of it. We don't even need any agreement with them." I told Marco, we don't need an agreement with.
Oh, okay.
I can't. I wish I was sitting next to Bibi while this is going on. By Bibi Netanyahu and watching his face and his people while this shit was going on, because, like, I mean, he must be pulling his hair out, right? Whatever he has there.
I think Netanyahu is also laughing because even if it's only partially true, the Americans were able to do something the Israeli Air Force couldn't do, which is strike deep into that mountain, right? And this is what's really funny about Trump. He might look at pictures from Isfahan, which was above ground, where the cruise missiles hit, right? And that could be true. You see buildings destroyed, the complex destroyed, and he goes, obliterated, it's obliterated. That's not where the money is. The money is in Natanz, and it was in Fordu, which is under a mountain. Sorry, I got a little something in my contact. I'm laughing so hard. I'm crying. But Netanyahu is getting something out of this also. He got the Americans to play what he wants. And then Trump admits what we all knew was going to happen, which was, but if it turns out that it's true, we'll strike them again. And it's like, no, but which one is it? You just said you destroyed, it's obliterated, and now you have to paraphrase that with, if we see them doing nuclear, we'll attack them again. I'm crying. This is
But
so
but
stupid.
but Malcolm, but it gets even better, guys. Like, so, I mean, I feel like this is the SNL instead of, but this is real
It
stuff.
is SNL.
this is some serious shit here. So it gets better. So I had PTSD because it took me back to 2017 when all of a sudden a reporter asked him and said, "But Mr. President, you got your intelligence services are telling you that it's too early and to tell, but that they gave him a way out. Even they said it's too early, but right now, from what they're seeing, is that they get everything." You know what this guy does? He turns around first. So he goes, "Stop. I have special intelligence report here from Israel."
Right, right. Let me tell you
And
what the
then
Israelis
let me
think.
see what the Israelis are saying. And they said it was a marvelous attack. It was the best attack possible. Couldn't have been better.
No, they couldn't do anything with their thousands of aircraft and tens of thousands of strikes. Only I could do it. Good God, they know how to play this man like a fiddle.
But then it gets better. It gets even better. Then they turn around to say, "So, Mr. President, are you listening to the Israelis?"
Israeli intelligence.
He goes, no, Malcolm. He goes, no. He goes, well, even the Iranians came out and said, he, came, he said the Iranians came out and said there was a very strong hit. It was one of the strongest hits they've ever seen. They said America did an incredible job, and even Iran. So they said, wait a second. So you're listening to Iran, and you're listening to Israel, but you're
Not your own people. No. Who? Oh, and he said, what was it? Israeli spies went into the complex and said that it was destroyed. Oh, so what you're telling me is
how did you
every person that went into that complex today needs to be vetted or executed as an Israeli spy. I mean, did you just give up all of Israel's intelligence assets in Iran? Because one of you motherfuckers that went in there today, and what is it? There's 6 of you. All right. Let's say there's 6 of them went in there and said, oh, it's completely destroyed. It's going to be really easy to find out which one of you 6 or all 6 of you, right, are working for the Israelis. And this is horrible. He has no real world idea what he's doing or saying. And what they're going to do is they're not going to hurt those guys. They're going to haul in their mothers and fathers. And they're going to bring them into a basement with a fucking sledgehammer. And they're going to say, one way or the other, you're telling the truth or you're lying, your parents are going to die.
Oh, yeah.
So, you're going to die, your children are going to die, your mother's going to die, your wife is going to die.
But
so you're going to fucking tell us if you work for the Jews. If you work for the Jews, then we'll just kill you. But we won't kill all of them, right? Guys will confess even if they're innocent. But Trump may have just given away. Now, if that's a lie, because the Israelis are very smart. And in the intelligence,
somebody's still gonna get hurt because they won't.
Somebody's getting hurt one way or the other. The Iranians announced they're going on a massive holy war to find down the snakes and the traitors inside their country.
And Trump does all the time. And folks, I'm going to tell you something. As crazy and as funny and as insane as bizarre it is, it's extremely serious because I'm going to give you a little telltale that the media hasn't picked up on you, and you're going to be the first ones to hear with me and Malcolm here. When we talk about evidence. Yes, there might not be a smoking gun about Donald Trump, where we're going to see actual pictures of Vladimir Putin and the Ayatollah taking the, uranium out of the, and leaving it out. We might not see that, but we could use common sense. There's a thing called, circumstantial evidence. When you get enough evidence, you could start making your own decision on what it is. So let me tell you another little fact that nobody's talking about. Right before Donald Trump attacked, 2 days before, when Donald Trump went on that tirade that he's going to attack, when all of a sudden Medvedev, if you remember, came out and made that crazy statement, the one statement the media wasn't talking about was what Vladimir Putin said. When he was asked at a conference, will you support and help military Iran? He says, we don't have to because we have over 600 scientists right now at this nuclear plant. I forgot the name, the one with starts with F, the big one. He goes, and nobody's going to hit and attack Russian scientists, meaning that the Israelis and the Americans are not going to do it. Literally that evening, Trump went on and said that he's giving, I call them Donnie 2 weeks. You know, he
Right.
went and said, "I'm going to give you the 2 weeks," even though we knew that it was a matter of time that they're going to strike. Now you take that. Now fast forward it. Do we have any news releases of any Russians scientists dying in the strikes? What happened to the 600 scientists?
Oh, you mean the ones at Bushir? Oh, yeah, they avoided that place like the plague,
They left.
right?
They left.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
let
I
them
mean,
go.
literally the day before the strikes. Literally the day. So, I mean, so if they left, why did obviously, the nuclear material and everything else, obviously they had info. They knew that they were leaving before the strikes and everything was getting there.
Right, of course. Well, the funny thing is that, and I mentioned this in the Substack we did the other day. All right, it's all time for you to put on your junior intelligence analyst hat. If they built this facility in 2003, that was 23 years ago. They completed it 20 years ago, right? Under a mountain, underground, nuclear centrifuges. You have to think about this. If that's been there 20 years, spinning uranium, trying to cascade this uranium and make it, take it at Natanz from 0% rich to 60% rich, and at Fordow, take it from 60% rich to 90% rich, which is atomic bomb grade, right? You can do it at 60%. You can blow up an atomic bomb. It's just going to be the size of a Ford Fiesta. But this place has been in operation for 20 years, and the other one's longer. What in God's name makes you think they didn't have a protocol to remove uranium as soon as they felt it was enriched enough and hide it somewhere else? Chicken coop, goat shed, right? If you're not flying directly over Iran with a radiation sniffer aircraft, 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer, you can't detect that stuff.
Because Trump said it's very difficult. This is another thing, Malcolm. Trump said today that this stuff is so difficult to move. And so, but I mean, can you explain
No,
that to me?
our procedures might be difficult, right? But all you got to do is throw it in a lead box, right? And if you do 10 pounds at a time, right? 800 pounds, 10 pounds at a time, that's 80
These
boxes,
boxes, yeah.
right? And then you can conceal them in multiple places. Let's assume that this material's not 90%, that this is somewhere between 60 and 90%, still bomb grade, right? Or that they have 90% plutonium or uranium. And maybe they only have 10, 20 pounds. That's all you need for an atomic bomb. 10 pounds, more than enough. So, his whole belief it's based on one, he hears it from the Israelis. Then he takes the denials of the Iranians as a better source of information. Instead of actually accepting what every president before is that there's no such thing as 100%. Zero. There's low confidence, medium confidence, high confidence, very high confidence, right? There's multiple grades of confidence within that. And all you can do is fit within one of those boxes. But what you cannot say is 100%. 100% is what the Ukrainians did to the Bear bombers in Russia. How do you know that fucker's destroyed? Well, the drone landed on it, and we have video of it blowing up, and it's in flames. And within the hour, we had satellite imagery of them burning to hell. That is very high confidence, almost 100%. You can verify it with your eyes. But to say, hey, listen, 80 10-pound boxes of uranium in 50-pound lead boxes may have gone somewhere. Well, the IAEA is saying right now they cannot identify the remains of 400 kilograms. That's 881 pounds.
Exactly what
So
we've been
how
saying.
can you say, yeah, here's all he can say. We believe we broke through on the strike. We believe that. We believe that we dropped sections of the inner concrete sarcophagus and it set centrifuges off balance or destroyed some centrifuges. Okay, great, because there's 3,000 fucking centrifuges in there. In 2023, there were.
Oh. Malcolm, we got Malcolm frozen here. Internet. I'm sure he'll get unfrozen here. I mean, just folks, but just think about what we're talking about here. You know, everything we've been telling you. I mean, and this is extremely, extremely dangerous because what we're saying here is right now what Donald Trump is I mean, any normal human being, any normal president, he would come out right now and basically say, yes, we need to assess it. We need to figure it out because we want to make sure that they, you know, if that was our goal, if the goal was to be able to wipe him out. Let me try to get maybe we'll remove Malcolm. We'll send him a new invite. Oh, that guys. If the goal was to get out, there we go.
There you go. I'm back.
There we go. Much better. Go ahead, Dennis.
Well, what I was saying was very simple. Like you just said, a good president would say, we are going to take our time. We're going to use the best intelligence in the world. We're going to assess where we are, and then we'll get back to you. And Trump, in the first minutes, said, I have totally destroyed the entirety of the Iranian nuclear program. And what did I say? I said, it's likely they smuggled material out.
Yep.
Because you don't have the program on par for 40 years and not have a protocol to say, hey, Israel's attacking us. Let's implement the smuggling plan, or let's put it in a shaft they don't know about, or let's get this out 2 years ago when Israel and Iran were trading ballistic missiles. That's when I would have done it. 2024, a year ago. I would have said, no, too risky. What they're looking for are the signatures of moving radioactive material that we would use, which is giant trucks, armed convoys, right? Not, I would just throw it in the back of a fucking chicken truck.
And that's where your intelligence comes in. Where this like I don't even understand. Like I mean, it's just common sense. Like I mean, but there's other things. I mean, the guy turned around today, and you know what was interesting? He also said he called Pete Hegseth the Secretary of War.
Yeah. And then he goes, yeah. It was in a building next to us, and we're gonna probably go back and name it Secretary of War again. He's mentally ill. How are they not going, whoa, this guy has dementia. This guy lives in a fantasy world. Secretary of War. Are you shitting me? Okay, we're back to defense now, so we'll change it. When we're at war, we'll be Secretary of War. Holy shit.
And then watching Hegseth come out on stage and be literally a Fox analyst and sit there and talk about like you know attacking the media of going after the president. These were perfect going after the leakers again. Going after the leakers, not going after, you know, the truth, not saying what's it called, the leakers.
Yeah, or, acting like, I don't know, Secretary of Defense and talking about the defense of the United States, the posture of U.S. forces. Good God, he's picked kids from the playground to run the police department. That's what's going on here, right? And they're just sounding the sirens and putting on police helmets and shooting guns in the air. These guys are morons.
Morons. But Malcolm, it's dangerous because these dangerous. I want to ask you another question. The media impact. There's so much shit that went through this that we've been talking about. That he today, literally, when I watched it, it was like him exposing the stuff. And still, the media, all they're talking about is just the Iran, attack. If he hit them, didn't hit them, and trying to validate it. But he said something also. There was a question, that a reporter asked him because he put a tweet a couple of days or Truth Social about that Iran could now buy oil from that China could now buy oil from Iran, that they should congratulate for him. And today he was asked that question. They said, well, Mr. President, are you saying now there's no sanctions, Iran
can sell what they want, right?
So, and he said yes. He said yes. He said they fought a very hard war. The war is over. and they could buy oil from China, could buy oil from Iran, they could buy oil from us. Yes, I could stop it. I could take all the oil like they did with Iraq, but no,
Right, right, right.
Iran could sell oil to whoever they want. I
The
was
only thing that
listening.
should be said when stupid shit like this is said, and I don't know how these dumbass
Nobody's
journalists could
talking
sit
about.
in there, the only thing you could go is, are you shitting me? Are you fucking stupid? Really? Are you shitting me? You're a moron, aren't you? Because you're talking moron talk. God forbid I ever get into a room, because I'll just shout it out. I'll do the fucking full George Bush and throw shoes at him. It's just stupid. This is just stupid. This is just stupid.
But how do you even say something like that? I mean, and then he postures into, and then the real reason, just like we spoke about Ukraine. Ukraine was next. He turns around, starts talking about Zelensky. Yeah, like a mob boss. He's a nice guy. Putin's a rough guy. Folks, I want to tell you right now, for 101, I don't know what you want to call it, but just think about what Trump is doing, and you could tell right away who he's protecting, who he's laying out, who he's not. He's going after Vladimir Putin, not in an aggressive way, but he's talking about this is all pre-planned, because he has to show the media and he has to show the world, he has to make you chase to think he's going to be hard on Putin. Meanwhile, he's openly telling you that he just went to speak with Zelensky, and my sources tell me that he did bring up the peace agreement not once. He didn't mention, anything to do. Basically, he listened to Zelensky, told him maybe he'll give him, they'll think about giving him some of the anti-defense missiles, maybe,
Maybe.
because they're 100% accurate. We just gave some to Iran, Israel, and they're very expensive. Maybe we'll get, not give them, sell them. Maybe we'll
Tell
sell
them,
them
right.
some. Maybe we'll sell them some. What's it called? And then he told them, after you, I'm going to go speak with Vladimir Putin. And to the media, he turns
Don't
around
get
and
his
he says,
worse.
they ask him a question. He says, you know what? He goes, yeah, Zelensky is going through some difficult time right now.
Yeah.
What are you saying, man? What are you saying?
God, this is what happens when stupid people, it's a kakistocracy, right? Which is governance by the stupidest people. And I have a bumper sticker on my car that says, what is it? Evil is being ruled by, or apathy leads to rule by evil men, right? And here we are. People were apathetic. We're now being ruled by the stupidest and the evilest people in our country. And they're really proudly stupid, too. Proudly. Like, yeah, I'm a dumbass. It's a badge of honor to many of them.
And they try to outdo themselves. The stupider, the more dumbass,
Oh, yeah.
to make him
Oh,
look,
yeah.
to make him look like all this exciting and all of this. Meanwhile, it's I'm standing there watching Marco Rubio standing behind him and Pete Hegseth. It was like I swear to God, I thought I was back in Brooklyn with a mob boss standing there with his two lieutenants, like
No.
it was just like, and the way he spoke to the media. I mean, this is the president of the United States of America, guys. I mean, listen, you could like him, hate him, but there's like, I keep saying one thing. I don't know how you guys do it, but I have young kids at home, and I have to then speak to them because when the president of the United States comes out and calls the media scum, like on the standing from the Hague at the and the world is watching,
Right.
and he gets into this when he says fuck you, or they don't know what the fuck they're doing. I mean he is like literally completely, guys, out of control. This is not already. This is He can't control the shit that's coming out of his mouth now, because
No,
before
but
he
it's
thought it.
crazy. If you're overseas on an overseas trip talking about national security and your number one concern is what CNN is saying, and here's the kicker. They verified the intelligence for the news media. The first statement Caroline Levitt made was, this is top secret information coming from a low-level person with clearance. Well, you just confirmed it's top secret information. You confirmed you know where it came from. You confirmed it was Defense Intelligence Agency analysis. You confirmed that the readout showed the strike was successful. However, there's an assessment out there by professionals who go, you burned 6 holes into the side of a mountain. There's not much more I can tell you other than that. You burned 6 fucking holes inside of a mountain. We burned thousands of holes inside of mountains in Afghanistan, and people still came out the other end. You know?
Yeah, no, and Malcolm, and the scary part about it is that while this is going on, nobody's talking about the big beautiful bill that they're trying to push through. Nobody's talking about that we still have, military in Los Angeles. I mean, literally, nobody's asking the question, why is there military? I keep asking that question: is why do we still have the troops in LA?
That's
I
all
mean,
show.
I
All
know, I
show.
know, I know, but nobody's. I mean, like, is there protest still going on there?
No,
Anything that you've seen? Like, why?
there's an actual Twitter feed called Protest in LA. And everything that's happening is people are coming out when the LAPD now is going and providing barriers around the cops. I don't see any reports of the Marines. I think they're just pulling freaking shit duty, inside of buildings. But, this is absolutely terrible how they're doing it and how they're going about it, you know?
And I'm hearing now that there's a fourth case. Yeah, I was listening to my son and the Midas guys and Aaron. They had what's it called? There's a fourth case of an American citizen that now that was taken off the streets. Malcolm, with American citizen, thrown into a jail. Was
Right.
almost deported and is now being let go. It's
Yeah.
it's it's insane. I mean, it's insane, and that's part of the strategy. Is my source had told me that he was on the phone calling already congressmen and senators on his way back from The Hague, to that he wants to meet him at the White House because he's about to put pressure. He wants that bill passed, and and here we go again, basically.
That bill's not getting passed by July 4th. There is no way because it has to go through reconciliation. So the Senate has to vote on something. And now I believe, was it on Stephanie Miller this morning? They were saying people were calling Republican congressmen going, hey, we can't do the Medicaid. We can't do the Medicaid cuts, take out $1 trillion from Medicaid. And, they're getting to the wire. They're willing to compromise on other things. I think they absolutely will change the laws to, propose changing the laws to where no one in the administration can ever be held in contempt in court and all these other things. And we have to keep the pressure on by absolutely, absolutely making sure people hear your voices and, go out and retweet those hashtags hands off Medicaid and things like that. But there are other horrible things in there. It's going to explode the budget deficit, $4 trillion. And they've got this measure in there. The way they're doing it, I saw a great analysis on TikTok where they said they're just making a rule that says you are not allowed to look at how much this will cost over the next 10 years. It's like, wait, what? And they go, no, 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 it's only $440 million in cuts, right? And it's actually $880 billion in cuts. Crazy talk
Crazy.
out there.
Crazy, insane. And Malcolm, and the other thing the media is not talking about, which is crazy, the cracks in Mega are so to such a degree, it's like all over the place. You got literally, I gotta read this to to you. So
Okay.
you had J.D. Vance and Thomas Massey going at it. That's the Vice President of the United States and one of the top Republican, hardcore mega Republicans going at it on Twitter. So
Mhm.
Vance writes, I wonder if other vice presidents had as much excitement as I do. Loving life, right? Thomas Massey responds to he goes, why don't you ask Mike Pence about his last month in office?
Massey, he's one of these four that need to come over to the need to caucus as independents and caucus
Thank you.
with the Democrats.
Thank
That guy
you.
could be a committee chair.
Yes, yes,
Right?
yes,
Why we're
yes.
not doing that? There's no hard politics going on. None
None
whatsoever.
whatsoever. I mean, you got none whatsoever behind the scenes. I'm speaking, I'm screaming, I'm talking, and there's like literally there's nobody taking the lead. Everybody's at each other's throat. Everybody is, on their own agenda, and there's nobody. And just because think about it, folks, you got we already before we've been talking about. You got guys like Don Bacon. You got guys like Valerio out of L.A. You got like even I know Fitzpatrick. We talk about Pennsylvania back, but he's still I mean, somebody that's spoken up against Trump and out there. And now you got Massey, and you got even Ron Paul's talking about it. The big beautiful bill. There's so
Oh
many
my
people
God.
coming out.
What the hell's going on that we're agreeing with Ron Paul?
That deal, I don't even. This is what I'm saying to you. Like, think about, but but that's the whole key. That's the message for all of us. If we could agree together, because we should be agreeing on that one message of all of us to get together to be able to stop this tyranny, to stop this craziness, to stop this movement that's going on, and the only way we're going to be able to do it is joint forces. So you
Yep.
have these people out there, you have them out there, but you don't have anybody on the Democratic side bringing him in, or I don't know. Like, yeah, I thought maybe Hakeem Jeffries, but I don't see him doing any moves. I don't see Hakeem Jeffries. I don't see anybody. I don't like literally. What about you, Malcolm?
Nope.
Yeah.
I was had Joy Reid on my podcast yesterday, and we were talking about how the Democratic Party is just sort of seized up. And she says the Republicans listen to the firebrands, right? When you come off and you gain popularity, they promote you, they listen to you, and especially if it goes along their way. Democrats are the party where you cannot be a Jasmine Crockett and expect to get a chairmanship. They feel like you have to earn your dues over
Yeah. Yeah.
decades, right? And you've got to wait your turn. That's what she said. And I was like, this is effing crazy.
He's right.
Crazy. You are willing to run the way that you've run and let democracy burn down, you
Yeah,
know?
and that's the problem. Well, that's why we lost. That's why they lost to Donald Trump. That's why right now we have no leadership because they go by they have not changed by with the times. They are not battling a different beast. They're still, like you said, it's like some protocol.
They're waiting for their top leadership to go into the camps first,
Mm. That's what's
right?
gonna happen, right? I mean, that's gonna be that's
And
what's
then they will write a strongly worded letter. It's crazy.
It's crazy,
I know.
folks. I mean, listen, we're living in a crazy time. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening. We had a little downtime to be able to bring you this update on all the stuff that's going on, but you know it already because we spoke about it 3, 4 days ago. We've been speaking about it every
Yep.
day. You are the most informed group out there. Our voices. That's why, please, for those of you that are our subscribers, our paid subscribers, God bless you. We love you. Thank you for everything. For those of you that are here, are new, just finding out, make sure you subscribe. It's for
Yep.
free. And if you enjoy and you appreciate the work that we do and the information we give you, become paid subscribers because it means a lot to us. It keeps us going and it keeps us supporting. Subscribe to Malcolm, myself,
Yep.
and others out there like Michael Cohen. You got the Midas guys. You got my son Aaron Parnas. You got a lot of
Right.
great people there, but you need to make sure the support right now. We need to be a unified voice. We
That's
need
right.
to be together. That's the number one thing because if we don't unite, if we don't go out there and have the same message, one message all together strong, they're going to take us apart. And now is the most important time with all this craziness going on because what
Yep.
Donald Trump has just done, folks, I'm going to tell you in a nutshell, is he's just lighted a fire under another volcano. This Middle East is not a situation that is solved or resolved. I wish it was. Believe me, I'd be the first person. I would be the first person saying, as crazy as Donald Trump is and as crazy as it is, I mean, he did it. I would sit there. I would eat my words. I would not be sitting here talking shit about him if I really felt that what he did was real peace and that because what that would save lots of lives. It would be an incredible situation to actually to have peace in the Middle East. But it's not that. this is even worse because the pretenses of this band-aid or whatever you want to call it that he's put in there, when it erupts, it could be even worse than we've ever thought about. The fact that he's trying to change history, rewrite history, not only with our, because our 2020 election, he's still the shears. Absolutely. I like the shears, by the way. He's still right now getting a special prosecutor to set up and go after because he wants to, while he's in office, to put in history that 2020 was stolen. He
Right,
wants to
right.
make sure that's why he let the January Sixers out. So that this, and now he's doing the same thing with these strikes in Iran because he, in his head, he really thinks he's going to get the Nobel Peace Prize for this stuff.
And
He
his
really
people
believes that.
around him are telling him, now's the time to rewrite history. This is the correct history. This will be the only history of the United States. This is going to be considered the blackest period in American history.
Yeah.
And I mean, he takes bribes openly. And we just had Pam Bondi say this yesterday. Oh, the Biden crime family, the things that are alleged were done in secret. And he's doing them his family business is in the open. Open effing bribery is what they're saying he's allowed to do, right? Oh,
Let,
they're all
let,
going to go, you know what? There's not going to be a Truth and Reconciliation Committee in 2029. Okay. There's going to be an accountability commission that should send people to jail, prison. This should be like the end of the Civil War. No, letting everyone off this time.
I'm praying that the Democrats learn their lesson, and that
Oh,
because with God willing, when we do get in power and we do have the gavel and we're able to do subpoena power and do and get back the our FBI, our DOJ, where it becomes again where it's not about the race, color, or religion or loyalty to Donald Trump, but
right.
loyalty to the Constitution, to the American people, where it's equal to. When we get there, I really hope that there is accountability because
There has to be.
that's the
And
that's the that's
we
the
also
only
need to change the laws.
yeah.
They need to change the laws. Everything that has been done here that is criminal, there now needs to be severe sanctions for any future administration. You cannot just change, Congress actually sets the laws, and that's whether they're determined constitutional or unconstitutional. But we have to change all of these laws. If you show loyalty to an individual rather than the Constitution, if the Justice Department acts as a partisan tool, all right, the threshold for impeachment should be zero, right? Should be very low. All of these things
Yeah.
we'll have to think about. I have to take off. You have to take off.
Yep.
Thanks for
Absolutely.
inviting me up. And, when breaking news happens, we'll be back up
We'll be
on a
back.
Substack.
Absolutely, guys. Take care.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.